everyone, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and youth representatives. Welcome to the ECOSOC Forum 2025 side event organized by the Journalists and Writers Foundation, which is dedicated to the culture of peace, human rights, and sustainable development. We are an NGO based in New York and associated with the UN Department of Global Communications. My name is Mehmet Kilic. I'm the president of the Journalists and Writers Foundation, and it's a great pleasure to have such a wonderful panel with us from different parts of the world, from different backgrounds. Today, we are gathered here to engage in a meaningful dialogue and share insights on a topic that is not just timely, but it is vital, which is youth voices driving innovation for quality education, social inclusion, and sustainable development. As we convene here at the Church Center for the UN, which is right across the UN headquarters, it is encouraging to see so many young people in our audience and also who represents the transformative power of ideas fueled by the passion, creativity, and determination. Today, we will be discussing how young people around the world are shaping their communities and advancing the sustainable development goals. We will explore key themes such as health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, economic growth, and the importance of global partnerships, which is SDG number 17. Each of these areas with sustainable development goals reminding us that our aspirations extend beyond national borders and towards a collective humanity. We find ourselves at a critical intersection where the aspirations of the Pact for the Future challenge us to harness the potential of science and technology to bring inequalities and promote digital cooperation. It is our shared responsibility to elevate youth as key stakeholders in global decision-making processes and to empower you to shape the narrative of sustainable development. Throughout this session, you will hear directly from exceptional youth leaders, visionaries, and who are breaking the barriers and transforming approaches in education, health, and gender empowerment. Their stories not just only narratives of hope, but they are blueprints of action, demonstrating that change is possible and that it begins with each of us. I want to encourage you all to engage actively in the discussion today, share your innovative thoughts and ideas, your experiences, but at the same time, challenges that you face. Let us foster an environment where collaboration and partnership thrive, manifesting the spirit of the SDG 17, which is global partnerships. Together, we can exemplify our impact and inspire the next generation of leaders to tackle the pressing issues of our time. Now, I have the pleasure of introducing our moderator for this panel discussion, my colleague, Maria Alejandra Guardado. We can give her a round of applause. Maria is a Toronto-based author, poet, and advocate, proudly embracing her Salvadoran and Venezuelan heritage. She is passionate about youth empowerment, social equity, and community engagement, and she currently works under the Ontario Minister of Children, Community and Social Services. As a graduate in politics and governance from Toronto Metropolitan University, Maria has further enhanced her experience through certifications from Harvard Kennedy School, United Nations University, and the IDLES Training Center. Her professional journey spans various fields, including immigration, IT, finance, marketing, political advocacy at all levels of government. Maria's dedication to her work has earned her several honors, such as Notable Lives Professional Under 25 in 2023, Charity Village's Most Outstanding Individual Impact Award in 2024, and the Emerging Leader Recognition from Women in International Security Canada in 2025. She has also received commendations from Canada's House of Commons on 2 occasions. In addition to her professional endeavors, Maria occupies leadership positions with the Toronto Foundation for Youth Involvement in Politics, NATO Youth Canada, and the King's Trust Canada. She has actively mentored young women, facilitated mental health workshops, and spearheaded UN advocacy initiatives at Bakar-Lorai, which is our global partner from Canada. Maria, you have the floor.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mehmet, for that kind introduction. Okay, let's see if this is going to go well. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here. As mentioned, I do want to get the floor open and started this afternoon. So as mentioned, my name is Alejandra Guardado. I am humbled and honored to come before you all today. This week, as you know, we come together from across the world to be here to participate in the United Nations Economic and Social Council Youth Forum. And today, let's take a look at hands to see whose first time it is at the ECOSOC Forum. Let's see a raise of hands. Great, me too. Okay, so today we gather here on the sidelines as part of the Journalists and Writers Foundation's event on driving youth voices and innovatively for education, inclusion, and all for the name of sustainable development. Honestly, this has been making it a reality for myself. A year ago, like a lot of you, I watched from the sidelines on social media, participated online, and followed the traction and the amazing work of youth leaders coming together and convening in a meaningful way. Honestly, it felt out of reach for me. Perhaps like many of you, I struggled with the belief in myself. I struggled with who I was as a woman, a leader, and as a young person. I do recognize how privileged I am to be born in Canada, to a family of Salvadorian refugees, and for my family being from Venezuela as well. However, today I will share with you how my lived experience has shaped my advocacy work. So this is part of my story. So my family was separated by war. My grandparents thought they were both dead. My grandfather had to drop out of his post-secondary studies in El Salvador to fight for the lives of my mom and aunt. Upon escaping in refuge to Canada, my grandfather, haunted by the war and watching the brooding killings of his closest friends and family, fell victim to alcoholism in his new life in Canada. Let's keep in mind that this took place to the mid to late 80s. Unfortunately, my mom, at 14 years old, fell victim to a 20-something-year-old predator to later become pregnant with me and give birth to me at 15 years old. My mom sacrificed her life for me. This was not without feat. My mother struggled with her mental health, often taking a lot of these frustrations out on me. My mom worked hard to complete her high school studies while raising me. In my teenage years, the struggles became too much for me. At 16 years old, I became homeless, struggling with who I was, with no one to take me in, and shelters being overfilled. I truly felt I was left for dead. I took to the streets of Toronto, sleeping in laundromats, stairwells, and parks, and in the cold winter months, of course, as I'm from Canada, I hopped from friends' couches. Unfortunately, during this time, I fell into substance addiction. Later, I was kidnapped against my will to be sold and trafficked. By some miracle, I managed to escape my traffickers to later be connected with my mom. After this, I decided to seek help and sober up to change my life. At 17, I went back to finish my last year of high school, only to face another life-changing event, an accident where I was pedestrian hit by a motorcycle. I was severely injured with broken bones and a serious brain injury, one in which I still struggle with today. And I felt at this point defeated at this point in my life. I felt that life was unfair. It took me 2 years to recover, and I didn't come from a normal family in Canada by any means. And I felt that I had to work 10 times harder to get one step further. However, of course, I didn't let this stop me. I went on to complete high school and managed to get into university. During my time at university, I struggled and spent countless nights wondering if I'd ever make it through. Working 2 to 3 jobs to support myself, I didn't have the privilege just to focus on my studies. I faced sexual assault on campus and undergone instances of domestic violence from previous partners. And to be quite frank, it wasn't until investing into my health and well-being and seeking a counselor that I began to see that the circumstances I went through were not a fault of my own, but a result of systems that weren't inclusive and did not factor in many of these social elements. I now stem a lot of my advocacy work through many of these experiences, volunteering in the community, having centered movements, and sitting on many boards and committees advising on relevant issues to youth at risk, homelessness, gender-based violence, addictions, and youth empowerment. I bring this all up because, as the Path for the Future mentions, that our global institutions must factor in the complexities of today's world. I share part of my story with you here today as a testimony of resilience and advocacy to encourage all of you that your struggles and trials are the missing links to our society's understandings of the gaps between us. All of you hold the answers to the world's problems. I encourage all of you to use your tribulations and funnel them into advocacy and get involved in your local communities at home and online. I believe we can truly be the generation that truly builds the world to our vision. A world of access, innovation, and peace. No matter whether if you're a student, seasoned, or young professional, I truly believe that we can work together to safeguard the lives of those to come. And if we don't fight for what is to come, what is the point? We are at a point of urgency. Now is the time. We are living in a digital age, and we as young people rely heavily on technology. We are at the moment in time to use it to our advantage. I challenge you all to take the initiative to speak up and use your stories to challenge systems and demand change, not only in our systems, but in how we connect with one another, with an open mind and heart to be rooted in compassion and empathy. We as young people are resourceful, we're resilient, and we're adept on learning on the fly. And the world that we once knew no longer exists. And technology is our enabler, one in which we can thrive and leverage integrated learning in all flows. There's no such thing as the right time anymore. All we have is now. And you can learn any skill at any time in this growing age. I want to encourage all of you as stellar youth leaders never to lose your creative edge. I understand the pressures of systematic thinking and processes not only in our generation are we capable of thinking critically, but creatively. We are fortunate to live in a time when we call the shots in our identity and we can take up space. I encourage you all to take up space and remember to make space for one another. We are in a time where it seems we are more connected digitally, but are divided socially. And now with the global tensions rising, we now have some gaps economically. That for the first time throughout history, we not only have been stunted a step back in globalization, that seemed to benefit us all, of course. Nonetheless, I know that this will not stop us from working together to build a world that works according to our goals for sustainable development. We are only a few short years away from Agenda 2030, and I implore you all to think about what comes next. And remember that the declaration on the future, that in all of our decisions today will impact the livelihood of those in the future. What does this mean for us? How can we collaborate in a way that transcends borders or regions and unites us? How can we challenge our governments not to use young people as tokens of their works, but directly be included in developing new frameworks? How can we work with tools such as AI to develop new streams of technology and engineering to power our world and help the world of work so we can make more time for ourselves and our family? How can we bridge together to ensure that every woman and child has access to quality education, and what is the role technology can play? Think about how we can support one another through more strategic partnerships to stop gender-based violence and merge similar works together in a way that is meaningful and collaborative. Ask yourselves, what could we do to instrument financial health and understandings of tax and credit as a means of young people, of capacity building in our school-age system? How can we unite and collaborate as young people to change the meaning of global governance that is truly representative of the growing issues that account for today and tomorrow's issues at the forefront and without oversight? I would like to leave you all here today to feel empowered and feel hopeful for the future to come. I hope that you all know that you hold the future in your hands. What you make of it is up to you. Let's rise together to build a world past sustainability for a world that transcends incredibility. Thank you to the Journalists and Writers Foundation for having me here today, and I'm looking forward to moderating this fantastic event, and thank you all for listening. I'm excited to set the stage, of course, for some phenomenal youth voices, helping pave the way for the future generations. So again, thank you so much, and we're gonna get started with Marina here. So Marina El-Kawan, founder of Me Donations. She is from Lebanon. And Marina El-Kawan is the founder and president of Me Donations NGO in Lebanon and France. And him as 24 Changemaker and Health Award, his master's SS24 Changemaker and Health Award winner, committed to providing free, equal, and fair medical assistance across the nation. Her journey commenced at 18 in response to the Beirut explosion when Me Donations was launched. In 2022, the construction of the Me Donations free health tech clinic in Beirut was initiated. This year, the impact was extended internationally by registering Me Donations branch and establishing its first European headquarters to enhance support for Lebanon. Me Donations has made a profound impact within Lebanon's borders, saving over 20,000 lives and covering the cost of more than 110 surgeries. In addition, Me Donations launched 65 plus international medical collection points in over 65 countries across the globe. Madina's motto, anyone, anywhere, any stage of life has the potential to become a lifesaver, a change maker, and hope creator, drives her unwavering commitment. So I will pass the floor to Madina.
Thank you. It's working? Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Mehmet. Thank you, Chamber. Thank you, Journalists and Writers Foundation team. Thanks to everyone joining here. It's truly a great pleasure to be speaking at this conference, especially at this side event, as JWF holds a very deep position in my heart, as they're one of our supporters also in our actions in Lebanon. To brief you a bit and to take you back in our journey, I would start with a sentence. Where you live shouldn't determine if you live. And this is the thing that I've learned at the age of 18, when I was on the streets of Beirut, all ruined, all bombed, all destroyed. I'm just seeing dead bodies in front of me, blood everywhere. And I'm just hearing people shouting and screaming, and the sirens echoing everywhere. This is the thing that I've learned that day. And it was the lesson that shaped my entire journey afterwards. It's the lesson that's made Marina and Khawand sit here. After all these achievements, awards, lives saved, what matters for me is the amount of people that you were able to reach and the help you were able to support with and the crowdsourcing of medications that eventually we were able to get and the lives you were able to save. It's saving lives mission. So the story started on August 11, 2020, where I met our first patient. And she's an old lady living by herself. Imagine her home was totally destroyed. She didn't have nothing. She was just asking for help to get her medication. And she was about to die if her medication wasn't secured. Imagine now, you are in need of your medication, of your chronic medication that you cannot live without, and you have no means to get it. No financial means. It's not available in the pharmacies. It's not available in the hospitals. You have no physical ability to go, move, and get it. And no one is here to support you. So there's no way, absolutely no way for you to get the medication. Then there's no solution. We were living in a country where all this was happening, where none of the individuals, none of the patients had the ability to get their medication, or just a minority, to be fair. So that moment sparked in me an urge to start something out and to help. And this lady's story, seeing her laying on her chair, her color was pale and barely able to breathe. And my mom has asthma. So it was a personal connection with this lady that, what if my mom was sitting in the place of this lady? Would I accept going back without giving any support? Would I accept knowing that this lady is dying because her basic right to get her medication wasn't available? I went back and I was searching inside the pharmacies. And all what I got, we're sorry, it's out of stock. And I had it's, we're sorry, the patient is gonna die. So I took my phone, I posted a story on Instagram. I didn't hope that I would get any reply, you know? Just for me, I'm trying. And I got a reply after 2 hours from an influencer. calling me, Marina, I secured 12 boxes of this medication. Her friend lives in Australia that owns a pharmacy in Beirut, and she will donate a full stock, which is 12 boxes of this inhaler. For me, it was the most beautiful, shocking call I get in my entire life. And this lady doesn't know me even. I took the medications, rushed to this lady's home. It's a fraction of 2 hours. And while I'm driving, I was thinking, well, when we talk about health, we're talking about urgency. We do not have the privilege of minutes, of hours. We do not have them, and even seconds. We can lose a life at any moment. So we need to act urgently and quickly. Otherwise, it's over. So I reached her doorsteps again, and I was just praying and hoping I will see her breathing and alive. And thankfully, she was still alive. So I took the medication, and she started crying. You know, imagine now seeing your mom or grandma sitting in front of you and crying because she saw her medication. And she was in dire need of it. And maybe she had only a few seconds or minutes left before this inhaler reached her hands, and she took the puffs. And after an hour, before me going out, she hugs me. And every time I remember the story, I can still feel her heartbeats. I can still feel the essence of this hug, how beautiful, how human it is, how special it is coming from a stranger that now is part of my life, is part of my heartbeat. Because that moment, I knew that I saved her life. It was just one act I did. Posting the story, getting a medication, not even I manufactured the medication, I didn't buy the medication, I just connected individuals together and saved this individual's life. The second day, my donations was born, it started. After a year, 500 lives were saved. After 2 years, thousands. And after 5 years, 20,000 lives. So, after all what I've lived, and all the stages that I passed through, it was a huge struggle. It was tears more than it was joy. But in this journey, I learned what is joy and what is the purpose in life. And when you know what is your purpose in life, nothing can stop you. When you feel that this is the thing that you're doing and it has the purpose, the true meaning of life, then you're going to continue no matter what. You're going to cross all obstacles, from the legal, to the policies, to the laws, to the borders, to everything. You will not care about anything. You just want to do it, you want to do it. No matter how old are you even, or no matter where you live, or if you have the resources yes or not. I had zero resources. I was still a student. I was a law student back then. I had nothing. I wasn't working even. I had zero knowledge in nonprofit and in healthcare. I had zero in everything. And I had a community who is supportive. I had a purpose and a vision and a mission I want to fight for. And I had lives to save. And all what I was seeing is just lives I want to save. And I want to do the impossible to get them the medications they need on time. And that's where we scaled. We started getting medications from outside Lebanon, where, as Maria mentioned, we have now drives in 65 countries, led by individual volunteers. Individuals. As you, people who believe in the mission, who believe in the right that every individual and every human being, no matter where they live, they should access their medication. And they should have an access to their medical assistance for free, fairly, and equally. The three together. So Med Donations is now a community-driven work. It's not a non-profit. It's not just a mission. It's a community belief that the power is in between our hands. And it's just by actions that we take things moving forward. So now, I'm sure that in every single one of you, there's an urge to do something. There's the will, there's the dream, there's the vision, but we need to act. You need to dare to act. It's not easy, but it's on you to take the first step. And the ECOSOC Forum here is the great space to share ideas, to collaborate, and to really feel the push and motivation to transform all these talks into concrete actions Because that's what matters. And that's what we lack in our communities and nations now. Lack of action. We have a lot of plans on the papers, amazing plans, but who is executing these plans? If we execute them, then for sure in 2030, we're gonna live in a way much peaceful, better, healthier, more inclusive, equal, fair world for everyone, where everyone has the space to do whatever they want. And everyone have the right. So this is my call to you. And believe in something, as I started with, and I've said yesterday, everyone, starting from you to everyone that you meet, to everyone that you know, has the power to be a change maker, a hope creator, and a life saver. Not just by giving a medication. You can be educating someone, you're saving a life. In all aspects of your work. So believe in these three, work by them, and every dream can become a reality and can drive immense impact. That's it for me from you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marina. That was wonderful and beautiful to hear about Merit donations. And of course, get in contact with Marina if you know someone or want to get connected. You know what? Amazing, amazing work. So inspiring. I love it. And you're doing amazing. And so next, to keep the conversation going, I want to introduce Lyzianah Emakoua. She is the founder and CEO of the Center for Community Impact and Sustainability in Sierra Leone and the US. Lyzianah is a dynamic young leader and the founder and CEO of the Center of Community Impact and Sustainability, an organization advancing climate justice, gender equality, education, and peace building across Africa with a strong focus on Sierra Leone. She currently serves as the convener of the 2024 and 2025 Local Conference of Youth Sierra Leone, mobilizing young people for climate advocacy and UNFCCC engagement. As a youth, peace and security YPS expert, she also contributes to the country's National Action Plan on Youth, Peace and Security. Lyzianah has worked with UNESCO, UNODA, and the US Capitol, and she has represented youth voices at global forums including the UN General Assembly, the HLPF, and COP. Her advocacy centers on empowering marginalized women and girls affected by climate change and gender-based violence. She is a trained African youth climate negotiator, and she currently leads the African Youth Partnership Task Team in Sierra Leone. Her contributions have earned her prestigious recognitions, including the President Joe Biden's Volunteer Service Award and the Pan-African Youth Leader Award. Lyzianah holds a Master's in International Affairs from the George Washington University. So I will pass it to Lyzianah, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Maria, for that introduction. And just to revert back on your personal story, thank you so much for sharing your story. That was so powerful. And to my other co-panelists. So I'd like to thank the Journalists and Writers Foundation for the invitation and for the opportunity to speak on the themes. I was asked to speak on gender equality. And actually, this is actually one of our thematic areas, thematic focus at the Center for Community Impact and Sustainability. And it deeply aligns, both with our personal mission and our work. So at CCIS, we believe that, let me just go back. So we believe that gender equality must begin where there's impact, where the impact is felt most within communities and particularly at the grassroots. In our work across Sierra Leone, particularly with adolescent girls in marginalized areas, we have seen firsthand how systemic barriers like poverty, lack of access to education, and harmful gender norms combine to hold girls back from reaching their full potential. So one of our newest and most transformative efforts is our Adolescent Girls Safe Space project, which was launched across 6 communities in Guardado. So Guardado is western area. It's like one of the marginalized community in Freetown, which is the capital of Sierra Leone. And that was launched on March 8th, which was International Women's Day, as you can all see. But prior to this, so these are some of the photos of our staff going into the communities to conduct a needs assessment prior to the actual launch and actually meeting with the girls, our recipients, and the community leaders. Just to figure out what are the issues, and also to conduct a participatory approach, because we believe that we're not going into communities to dictate we're not telling them these are the interventions, but we're asking them what do you need, so we can craft our interventions on our programs based off the community needs. So basically having a tailored approach. So this is just our communities, our staff just and by the way, we have permission to share these photos from the community. So this is the launch that I was talking about. So we launched this this adolescent safe space project in 6 communities, and this initiative targets 300 adolescent girls who face overlapping barriers to education, vocational training, and personal empowerment. And many of them are at risk of early marriage, sexual exploitation, and unemployment, not because they lack the potential, but because they lack the opportunity. So that's one thing that CCIS is trying to do, to bring those opportunities to the girls. So our Safe Space initiative provides, I'm just sharing these projects. So it provides vocational and life skills and training, as you call C. We're starting, we have this skills and training that we offer every Saturday in the communities where girls are learning vocational skills, from learning how to bake, to learning how to make soap, to also learning how to sew. We also have a mentorship and leadership development, which is one of our flagship programs, and again, just to boost the confidence of our young girls, our recipients, and we also connect them to opportunities in the multilateral space. We actually have one of our young youth representatives with us here from Sierra Leone, that's representing CCIS, Bernie Global. And so also we have financial literacy and entrepreneurship sessions, because one of the goals in essence is to empower our girls economically, also because we're training them, and we're also hoping that the end goal is to learn these skills and to be able to make ends meet, and of course we should be able to reduce gender-based violence, as we all know, and psychological support, because obviously we understand that in marginalized communities our girls are exposed to all forms of gender-based violence, including sexual exploitation, and often perpetrators are close people, neighbors, members of their families, and a lot of the girls, they are suffering inside and they have no one to speak to. So that's also this component, this segment is also very important. And most importantly, we have a powerful solution to menstrual health and inequity, which is, I would say, that's our flagship program. So our menstrual health management portfolio is, well, I just wanted to say it's important for us to understand that menstrual health is a silent driver of school dropout, social inclusion, exclusion, and gender inequality. And part of this program, because I talked about sewing, as you see up there, so we're training our girls on making reusable pads. So they're getting trained on sewing clothing, but most importantly, how they can make reusable pads. And I just wanted to share that in sub-Saharan Africa alone, an estimated 98 million girls are out of school, and menstruation is a significant barrier. Sanitary pads across the continent cost $1 or more per pack. So I repeat, only $1. And then here in the US or in the global north, it might seem as $1 is nothing, but in the global south, a lot of rural girls that's a lot. And so depending on the brand. So that might not seem like I said, it might not seem like much, but a lot of girls, or even young women, it means choosing between, having to buy those pads, or maybe having to buy food to feed, or basic needs. And then you'll be very surprised to know that many marginalized young girls Most of the time they're exposed to, I would say, also forms of gender-based violence where they have to exchange, they have to go into sexual transactions with maybe bike riders in communities, where a lot of the girls in Freetown, when they, during the summer or during the holiday, when they go into the communities, when they go into their hometown, sometimes they're being tricked by boys. Oh, you know, if you sleep with me, we can offer you pads, right? And you'll be surprised that in some of those marginalized communities, just a regular pad is like, it's a big deal. A lot of girls are dreaming to wear pads. You know, here in the US or in the global north, we take that for granted, but a lot of girls don't have that. So as an alternative solution, we want to make this reusable pad, so for example, just to make it more sustainable. Yeah, with that being said, so as a result, so many girls, like I said, are forced to use tissues, rags, or even share used pads. And what about our displaced girls, right? And which is you know, risking them and exposing them to infections, shame, and emotional distress. Some girls stay home from school entirely to avoid the stigma of staining themselves in public. So I even remember while growing up, I can personally count the amount of time that I had to go back home when I was on my menses because I did not have enough pads, or even because I was stained. So these are real realities that are happening on the ground. So the environmental and also pads, you'd be surprised, have environmental impacts. And it's very alarming. So most commercial pads are made of 90% plastic, taking up to 500 years to decompose. And improper disposal not only pollutes our environment, but also creates health hazards. So in response, you know, our girls, our recipients, will be trained, and then just going back again, they will be trained they will be trained in the production of these reusable sanitary pads, which is sustainable, it's dignified, and it's a locally driven solution. And we are also hoping to empower them economically. So these pads, if they're being trained, they can replicate and go back and train the next community. And they can even use this as a source of income, you know, to be able to empower themselves economically. And I'm rounding up. And said, even just through this initiative, our girls are also going to be educated on the health risk of improper sanitary pad disposal, environmentally safe practices for managing menstruation, and ways to raise awareness and advocate within our community. So I think I share one of our flags. We've also been going on radio, just, you know, we also have an awareness campaign where we've been talking about some of the work that we're doing and trying to mobilize girls, you know, just to raise awareness of the importance of how sustainable, you know, reusable pads are. And I just wanted to highlight that, you know, this initiative is not just about pads, it's about power. So, you know, when girls have control over their bodies, their time, and their income, they begin to shape the future, not just their own, but in their communities. I mean, we're all familiar with, you know, when you empower a girl, you empower an entire village, you empower an entire nation. As I mentioned earlier, when girls have access to powerful programs and leadership and empowerment programs such as this, it reduces the school dropouts, it increases school attainment. And, you know, we're also equipping our girls to be leaders, entrepreneurs, and advocates, because they're not victims in need of saving, but they are visionaries ready to lead. But we cannot do this alone. You know, in order to scale some of these grassroots innovations, we need to invest in youth-led communities and solutions, and especially the financing. You know, we're a youth-led organization, and financing is a huge challenge. So I don't know if there's any policymakers here in the room or any stakeholders, but all of the stakeholders at this table, it's so important, you know, just to encourage, like, you know, to focus on youth-led organizations. So, and also ensure that young people, we have access to the funding, because we understand how sometimes when funding is allocated for specific thematic areas or issues, sometimes by the time it gets to youth, like, the percentage is this little because of the corruption on ground, and also ensure that we're enacting gender responsive policies, to support, for the support of menstrual equity and vocational education. So in closing, I just want to remind you us all that gender equality is not a side issue; it's the issue. Right? So whether we are tackling poverty, climate change, or conflict, no solution is complete without, the leadership of empowered girls and young women. So I'm just gonna leave us here, and thank you so much, to WF for the opportunity to sit on this panel, and looking forward to hearing from the participants or any questions. Thank you so much.
That is amazing. Thank you so much, Lyzianah. This is terrific. I love to hear all about the amazing work. Again, please, if you want to learn more, please connect with her. Read about the Center for Community Impact Sustainability in Sierra Leone if you're interested. So thank you so much for that. Next, we're going to move on to Leyla Yurt, the president of Blossom Together chapter at Columbia University here in the U.S. Leyla Yurt is a senior at Barnard College of Columbia University, majoring in economics and is an aspiring attorney. She had the opportunity to intern under the United Nations in Austria, where Leyla worked with youth activists and planned projects for sustainable development goals of the UN. She volunteered in Nigeria, Africa as a teacher assistant for the elementary school, Nigerian Tulip International Colleges. Leyla Yurt is looking forward to utilizing her personality traits and skills in supporting public welfare through law. So give a warm, warm welcome to Leyla.
I'm working? Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you guys for being here. I would like to thank JWF for organizing and for the invitation to speak, and also my wonderful co-panelists for sharing their amazing experiences. So today I wanted to come and discuss and talk about a club we have across many campuses in the US. I think as a member of youth, I seemingly underestimated the impact that we can have, and I know Marina mentioned the power each individual has as long as you want to take action, and so I wanted to share experiences as students in the US of how working together collectively can create real impact for those in need. So our club is Blossom Together, and I am the president of the chapter at Columbia University. We are a student-led organization, a humanitarian organization based in many colleges across the US. And chapters essentially work individually, but overall together to provide humanitarian aid and support living standards in sub-Saharan Africa. So this organization began in 2017, originally at high schools, and was then carried over to college campuses. It began in University of Virginia, and then chapters across the US started opening up, and now we have chapters in many top 14 colleges, such as Harvard, UNC Chapel Hill, Princeton, Lehigh University in Georgetown, and Columbia University as well. And we are still looking to open up chapters in various colleges in other states as well. So since 2018, we have been operating in 5 countries. We have over 100 members across the US. And are involved in campuses in more than 9 states in the United States. And in the last 7 years, we've raised a total of $300,000 and aim to raise more moving forward to deliver more aid in the sub-Saharan Africa, in the countries in sub-Saharan Africa that we operate in. The reason I wanted to actually discuss the importance of global partnerships is because the aid that we were able to deliver to people in need was all thanks to the global partnerships that we have with various organizations on the field in these countries, which I will get to later on. So as students, we began with the mission of empowering students to take initiative and to work together and collaborate while also engaging thoughtfully with global challenges. I think, especially as a person who has a lot of experience in research based in sub-Saharan Africa, it's easy to, hear the numbers and hear the stats and not really empathize with the context of these challenges and crises. My experience volunteering in high school in Nigeria really allowed me to observe personal stories and form personal connections with those who are struggling. As my co-panelist mentioned, there are a lot of struggles that the students face on a day-to-day basis. I have observed students that showed up to class or school late because they had to walk miles on foot to carry water to their families. I've experienced young female students that didn't come to school because they experienced gender-based violence or because they didn't have the sanitary products they needed to attend classes that day. And students that came to school hungry, students that ended up, passing out during class because they didn't drink water or have enough food, or, came empty-handed for lunch and so they didn't have energy to play with their friends. A lot of these are real challenges that these kids face on a day-to-day basis. I think seeing these observations, I was looking for ways that we can take initiative and was able to connect with students on other campuses and be part of this initiative as well. So not only did we want to empower students that were passionate about this topic, such as I was, we also wanted to foster a more compassionate campus community. Through their experiences during these trips to Africa in which we delivered the aid, students were able to interact with people who are facing these challenges and also really empathize with them and learn about the context of these challenges. So our volunteers not only develop soft skills but also learn to empathize, learn to work together, as well as gain awareness and knowledge about the context of these challenges in those countries. But overall, I think our biggest point of the mission is definitely creating a lasting impact of relief for these people in need. And so forming a pipeline of students who are continuously working for this mission and towards this mission is where the biggest part of our mission lies. So these are, I think, photos on the left side are photos of college students who have actually been to those countries and delivered aid. We have pictures of students helping with the restoration of wells, students visiting orphanages to deliver food packages, as well as students visiting schools to help restore the classrooms, as well as paint walls and even basic tasks that are needed to help create a more sanitary environment for these students to learn in. And on the right side we have, I think the first 10 campuses that our chapters have opened on, just to give context as to how broadly it operates. So our past trips involve Benin, Mali, Tanzania, Burkina Faso, and Guinea. And we aim to move to other countries as well and operate in countries. I think we are forming relationships with organizations in Uganda currently, and hope to also move beyond just medical and food services, but also to support female students and their special needs as well. I think that was a recent initiative that we have been trying to focus on in regards to moving our operations a little bit further. So our projects include water well restoration, water well construction, food packages, grocery boxes, cataract surgeries, as well as health checks. A lot of times people in these communities in need cannot afford a standard health check or cannot afford to cover the cost of cataract surgery, which is a major issue in many of these sub-Saharan countries. And people suffer from infections, suffer from illness, and there is not much they can do. They are aware of the situation, but because they don't have the means to cover it, they just don't take action on it, unfortunately. And so one of the biggest initiatives that we have is covering the cost of these cataract surgeries, as well as helping the operations in these hospitals on the ground. So when our students do visit these countries, they also help and volunteer during these health checks to administer the health checks as well with the doctors, because it could be a lack of hands on deck as well due to lack of resources at these hospitals too. So on the right side, we have photos of students helping during the administration of a cataract surgery. On the top left you can see. On the top right is a food package, a standard food package that was delivered for help. In the middle there are water well construction, as well as health checks and food packages being delivered on the bottom left. So you can see there are loads and loads of bags of food groceries, as well as sanitary products that are necessary in households. So our fundraising methods began with basic tables where we sold and fundraised for this initiative. I just wanted to point these out because it's seemingly a small, minor thing to do, you know, going to campuses, having a bake sale, maybe selling cupcakes and cookies. You'd think, oh, you know, this isn't creating much change, but eventually it leads to much greater change. When each campus raises, you know, let's say like $100 from one bake sale in a semester, and they do this 10 times a semester, that becomes $1,000 per campus. And if it's 10 campuses working together, then it becomes $10,000. That means help for, I can't even give you the number of people. Just one cataract surgery can cost around $80. And so you're already helping with 10,000. I think you guys can do the math. Another big thing that allowed us to raise a lot of money was stadium cleanings. We offered college campuses to clean their stadiums, as long as we were compensated for that service, instead of them outsourcing those to cleaning companies. So a lot of times we have big, you know, football, baseball, soccer games at college campuses, and there's a lot of trash left behind. And so our students would collectively work together to clean up those stadiums, and they were able to raise very big amounts of money in forms of donations as well, aside from those cleanings. Corporate sponsors and individual sponsors was a big one. We had, I think a story in Virginia was they actually went to their local bakery that all the students know to be like a big bakery for those students, and the bakery offered to give all their profit from selling chocolate croissants to this initiative. And so different sponsorships like this, where you can just go and present your initiative and you present your mission to local cafes and local organizations, and they can provide support to you as well in this sense. So I think definitely don't estimate the amount of impact you can reach by, you know, very seemingly small forms of fundraising, such as setting up tables, or basic cleaning services such as stadium where you just pick up trash, or even, you know, having a discussion with the cafe that you go to every day, you know, a local customer. So another thing I really wanted to highlight was partnerships. We actually worked on partnering with other clubs and organizations on our campuses. They've hosted, I think, with various cultural clubs. For example, on Columbia's campus, we have the Afghan Student Association, and they host big, you know, Afghan performances where they sell tickets, and we were able to work with them to allocate part of their profit to this initiative as well. So definitely work with other organizations and clubs on campuses too, and don't limit yourself to just simply your own fundraising. And the last one was alumni outreach. I think this is a new initiative that we're beginning. We're trying to involve alumni of our college campuses because there is a huge network that can be utilized, and we hope to share further progress in the future regarding that. So I think with sharing my experiences, I just really wanted to highlight the benefits of global partnerships. You know, not only were we able to visit these countries and observe the real context of these challenges and deliver the aid, we were able to maximize our impact on the field thanks to our global partnerships. We would not have been able to do that. I think Sorry, how do you pronounce your name? Lyzianah mentioned, it's very important to tailor the aid that you're providing according to the need of those communities. And I think as we visited those communities over a course of 8 years, we were able to really understand what they needed and tailor our projects accordingly. So we would not, again, have been able to do this or understand the context or the needs of those people if we were not able to form partnerships with these organizations and go visit. Beyond that, there was also a great knowledge transfer between our partnerships. Not only were our campuses able to gain knowledge and awareness about these contexts, about the challenges that these people are facing, but those organizations were also able to learn from youth's problem-solving skills. We talk about technology, we talk about social media, and the way youth can organize together and utilize these platforms. I think the organizations that we were working with were very behind and were very limited to local impact. And so they were also able to learn from our members and all our executives on how they can extend their impacts from beyond borders. And lastly, I know Maria and Marina both mentioned the effect of being a person, like having a personal connection or a personal experience, and how this plays a part in the impact you leave. And so this was a great opportunity for these students to really form those personal connections, obtain those personal passions, and bring that back to college campuses here in the US, where people take a lot of things for granted and aren't really aware of these challenges that people face on a day-to-day basis. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Leyla. Again, if you're based in the US and are a student in post-secondary or in college or university, please connect with Leyla. Who knows, maybe you could start a chapter at your university or college. That would be amazing. So please connect with her if interested. And this has been a terrific afternoon. How are we all feeling? How's everyone feeling? Good? Okay, awesome. So glad to hear that. So again, thank you so much to our terrific panelists and sharing their insights and the amazing work that they're doing, that's making direct impact. I love to hear it, and it's amazing. And so now we're going to move on to our oral statement presenters. I would like to call forward Akila Narayanan. Hi, welcome. Yeah. Please come up. Yes. I'm just going to ask if you can come stand right here next to our banner. And so Akila is currently a law student at Suffolk University Law School. She also serves as a paralegal specialist in the U.S. Army Reserve. After completing 6 months of intense combat training, Akila now supports military legal operations. She has also pursued a master's degree in international educational development at Columbia University, where she focused on global governance, policy, and planning. Her academic research centered on the role of governance in promoting equity and well-being, particularly examining the impact of global and regional policies on Indian education systems. So please give her a warm welcome.
I'd like to thank JWF for having me today. I'm truly honored to be here. My name is Akila Narayanan, and I'm grateful to speak to you about building inclusive and transformative learning spaces. Quality education, as envisioned by SDG 4, cannot be achieved by traditional methods alone. In a rapidly evolving world marked by climate crisis, technological transformation, and global inequality, we must ask ourselves, are we developing our youth to be problem solvers, creators, and leaders equipped to thrive in a changing world, or are we preparing them for a world that no longer exists? To truly revolutionize education, we must embrace STEAM: science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. Not merely as subjects, but as an integrated, interdisciplinary framework that fosters curiosity, collaboration, and critical thinking. Before law school, I worked as a music teacher at an international baccalaureate school in India, where I embraced a transdisciplinary learning approach. In my classroom, music was never confined to rhythm and melodies. It became a bridge between the subjects and, more importantly, between students and the world around them. For example, when we studied sound waves, we explored how vibration shapes both music and physics. When we learned how to build simple instruments using recycled materials, we learned about engineering and sustainability at the same time. When we composed music inspired by climate data, we didn't only learn data interpretation, we found our voice in a global climate conversation. Rooted in SDG 4's call for inclusive, equitable, and lifelong learning, I believe STEAM is not just a curriculum, it is a strategy for systemic change. Let me offer a 3-point vision. STEAM as a force for peace. Peace is not the absence of war. It is the presence of opportunity. We live in a world where military budgets soar while schools crumble. Imagine a world where governments reallocate even a fraction of war funding to education, where science labs replace training camps and classrooms replace battlegrounds, becoming arenas for peace. STEAM education can be that powerful force for peace that nurtures innovation to save lives rather than destroy them. Students equipped with these tools can design climate-resistant infrastructure, develop vaccines, and build clean water systems. These aren't just technical achievements, they are acts of diplomacy, community building, and long-term peace. Secondly, STEAM as a catalyst for human rights. While every child deserves to survive and thrive, our system fails millions who are left behind. According to the World Health Organization, over 45 million children under 5 suffer from wasting due to malnutrition. This isn't just a public health crisis, it is a human rights emergency. STEAM education that incorporates agriculture, nutrition, and water sanitation provides youth with the tools to engineer change within their own communities. It empowers them to combat food deserts, engineer community-focused solutions, and advocate for justice by taking the stories of neighborhoods to the world stage. Finally, STEAM as sustainable development and global citizenship. Sustainability requires inclusive, locally relevant education that equips young children with the qualities to tackle real-world challenges. STEAM empowers students not just to learn about sustainability, but to lead it. A 2023 UNESCO report shows that locally relevant, creativity-driven STEAM programs increase engagement by 23%, especially in marginalized youth. And engagement is essential because students most affected by climate change, food insecurity, and displacement must be at the center of these solutions. If we want to achieve the SDGs, we cannot train youth to simply adapt to a broken world. We must empower them to imagine a better one. That is what true sustainability looks like. But for STEAM to truly be revolutionary, it must be equitable and accessible. As the World Bank has noted, each additional year of education must reduce a risk of conflict by 20%, yet millions of children, particularly in the global south, still lack basic access to STEAM education. That's a global injustice we must confront. We need governments to fund tech-accessible, teacher-supported, and community-rooted STEAM programs. We need industry partnerships to invest in youth potential, and we need youth voices at every decision-making table. Let us invest in education that nurtures the whole child, heart, mind, and hands, because when we revolutionize education through STEAM, we don't just achieve SDG 4, we lay the foundation for a more peaceful, thriving, and sustainable community. Thank you.
That was amazing. Thank you so much, Akila. That was terrific. And yes, I am pro STEAM for the future. Let's do it. And I think we're the generation to make that fact. So next we're gonna move on to Yulin Wang. He is the founder and president of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Youth Foundation, the SCORE Foundation. With a strong commitment to global youth development, Yulin has played a key role in advancing cross-cultural exchange and youth empowerment worldwide. Under his leadership, the SCORE Foundation has financially supported numerous international youth initiatives, provided scholarships to young leaders, and fostered collaboration across regions. His mission is to provide development opportunities and support to 1 billion young people worldwide by 2050. Please give him a warm, warm welcome as he comes up.
Hello, distinguished representatives and youth leaders. Good day to you all. My name is Yulin Wang, and I'm the founder and president of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Youth Foundation, also known as the SCORE Foundation, standing here today on this global stage with the voices of Youth Unite. I feel deeply honored and profoundly aware of the immense responsibility that comes with it. When we talk about the future, we are in fact talking about this youth. We live in an area filled with both challenges and opportunities: climate change, economic inequality, technological revolutions, disparities in education, and concerns about global peace and security. These issues not only shape our present, but they also define our future. Yet, history has repeatedly shown us that youth are not passive recipients of change. Rather, they are the most dynamic force drawing it forward. Innovation comes from youth, society progress depends on youth, and global peace requires youth. The Shanghai Cooperation Organization, established in 2001, is one of the world's most influential intergovernmental organizations. With 26 member states, it represents half of the world's population and 1/3 of the global economy, fostering international security, economic cooperation, and cultural exchange. As the only official youth foundation within the SAO framework, the SCORE Foundation carries a profound mission. By 2050, we aim to provide financial support and development opportunities to 1 billion young people worldwide, nurturing globally minded youth leaders who will become innovators, change makers, and visionaries. Since its founding just 6 months ago, the SCORE Foundation has already financially supported over 50 youth events around the world. We have provided scholarships to more than 1,000 young leaders and covered airfare and hotel costs for over 300 young participants to attend international programs. These are not just my numbers, they are the opportunities for young people to grow, connect, and make an impact. I dedicate my time, financial resources, and efforts to advancing youth empowerment globally, because I firmly believe that investing in youth is investing in the future of the world. The entire funding of the SCORE Foundation comes from myself and my businesses. I personally sponsor youth-related events worldwide, build international partnerships, and actively promote intercultural exchange and sustainable development goals. This is not my work, it's my lifelong commitment and the promise to the youth of the world. I truly thank you for your attention, and I look forward to collaborating with all of you to empower the global leaders of the next generation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Julian. Amazing. 1 billion by 2050. Honestly, I think you can do 2 billion, but You know what? That is an amazing, amazing foundation. Please, if you know people, if you're interested, please connect with Yulin. I'm sure he'd be more than happy to connect you with his team to get some sponsorships or some scholarships to assist in whatever your projects may be. So please, please, please get involved. And so now we're going to move on towards Saniya, Lopez, and Aissatou Sakho. Aissatou? Aissatou. Sorry, forgive me, my apologies. So Saniya Lopez is a sophomore at Stony Brook University, double majoring in business management and political science. She currently serves as a teaching assistant for the Legal Environment of Business course and as an advising intern for the College of Business, where she supports students with professional development and academic planning. Aissatou, oh my god, I'm so sorry, please forgive me, is a senior at Stony Brook University majoring in economics. Having lived in 3 different continents, she brings a unique global perspective and adaptability to her work. She grew up in Senegal, completed high school in Qatar, and is now pursuing higher education in New York. Passionate about using her skills and experiences to drive meaningful change, she is dedicated to contributing to sustainable development and improving healthcare access in Africa. So please welcome them both up for the remarks.
Hi everyone, I'm Aissatou.
Hi, my name is Saniya Lopez. Today we're going to be talking about leveraging advanced technology for health solutions in Africa.
When I was younger, living in Senegal, my sister, who is extremely allergic to seafood, accidentally ate shrimp and began struggling to breathe. So we took her to the nearest hospital where it was declared that she had passed away. Skeptical, my uncle, who refused to give up, took us to a different hospital where we found out that she was actually in a coma. Less than 24 hours later, she woke up, thank God. This exact moment was my first experience with the harsh reality of healthcare inequality.
In the modern fast-paced world of technology, emerging solutions have the ability to dramatically change healthcare delivery, especially in parts of the world where there is little medical supply to draw on. In several African communities, access to healthcare remains one of the most pressing obstacles. In remote areas, clinics and doctors are scarce with limited guarantee of sufficient medical care upon arrival. According to U.S. International DFC, over 600 million people in Africa lack access to basic healthcare services. Africa is home to over 16% of the world's global population and shoulders 23% of the global burden of disease, but only accounts for just 1% of global health expenditures. Despite these challenges, there is a significant opportunity for these communities to leverage advanced technology.
Countries such as Qatar have made recent advancements reshaping the patient's experience with the use of tech-driven healthcare models. We propose adapting these technologies to improve healthcare access and outcomes in African communities. AI diagnosis, telemedicine, remote monitoring, and personalized treatment plans are accessible solutions that can bring healthcare directly into people's homes, even in the most remote regions. With the use of telehealth, there will be unlimited opportunities to receive medical advice without needing to travel hours to the nearest healthcare facility. Countries like Ghana, Nigeria, Uganda, Tanzania, and Ethiopia have already integrated telehealth solutions to address gaps in healthcare access. To break down persistent barriers, telehealth can allow patients to consult with certified professionals through mobile devices.
Remote monitoring and AI tools can offer life-changing opportunities. With the use of AI, patient data can be quickly and accurately analyzed to help diagnose diseases when professionals are unavailable. In Mali, the implementation of AI-enabled fetal monitoring software has led to the number of stillbirths and neonatal deaths at the center to fall by 82%. Such innovations can drastically reduce patients from preventable conditions that are on the rise across the world.
Technology promotes a broader vision of health, including the 8 dimensions of well-being, which are emotional, physical, occupational, social, intellectual, environmental, and financial. These 8 interconnected dimensions all contribute to a person's overall health and quality of life.
The goal of health and well-being is not out of reach for African communities. Africa has the opportunity to promote innovation, partnership, and equity. We as young leaders have the responsibility to utilize technology for the achievement of good health and well-being. Thank you.
That is amazing and so innovative, and honestly, you're paving the way for future generations. So that is terrific. Thank you so much. Next, we're going to introduce Zehra, Hansa, Girdap. If you would like to come up while I give you a nice introduction, yeah. So Zehra loves art, helping people, and science. Her goal is to be the voice for women around the world who are silenced. In the future, she would like to go into medicine to help people and continue advocating for humans and women's rights alongside her career. So please give her a warm welcome and take the floor.
Hi everyone, I'm Zehra Girdap, a junior high school student. I'm planning to go to medical school to be a dermatologist, and besides my academic endeavor, I've been working on humanitarian and human rights projects, particularly within the United Nations CSW and National Honor Society programs. So far, I've led and participated in projects focused on cataracts in Mali and fundraised for those surgeries, gender displacement and security issues in conflict zones, and gender-based health injustices. Today, I want to address a pressing issue that sits at the intersection of gender equity and public health, an issue that's often ignored, stigmatized, and dangerously under-researched: menstrual health. Menstruation is a natural and essential biological process, yet societal stigma continues to silence conversations around it. As a result, many women and girls remain unaware of the chemicals that they are exposing their bodies to through everyday menstrual hygiene products. This silence is not just a cultural problem, it is a public health crisis. And it directly connects to Sustainable Development Goal 3, good health and well-being. We have made significant technological strides, moving from cloths to disposable pads and tampons, but these conveniences come at a cost. Many commercial menstrual products contain harmful chemicals, such as bisphenol A, phthalates, and even heavy metals like lead, that have been linked to serious health conditions including reproductive disorders, endocrine disruption, and even cancer. Why does this matter? Because the tissue in the vulvar and vaginal areas is incredibly permeable. It absorbs chemicals directly into the bloodstream, bypassing the body's usual detoxification systems. This makes the presence of toxins in menstrual products an urgent health concern. Recent studies have found endocrine disrupting chemicals like BPA in over 90% of tampons and panty liners. These disruptors are associated with increased risk of infertility, early puberty, breast cancer, obesity, and heart disease. In some cases, improper or prolonged use of high absorbency tampons has been correlated with toxic shock syndrome, a rare but life-threatening condition that is rising in frequency among young women according to recent health department reports. The continued lack of regulation and transparency around what goes into these products is alarming. In the United States, menstrual products are classified as medical devices by the FDA, meaning companies are not required to disclose all their ingredients. This lack of accountability denies women the basic right to make informed decisions about what they are putting into their bodies. If we are truly committed to SDG 3, ensuring healthy lives and promoting well-being for all, we must treat menstrual health as an essential component of women's health care. This includes funding more research on the long-term effects of these chemicals, mandating ingredient transparency, and encouraging the development and adoption of safer alternatives, such as menstrual cups, which have been shown to be less harmful to the body. Menstrual health is not just a woman's issue, it is a human rights and a public health priority. If we continue to ignore the hidden health risks in everyday products, we are failing to protect the well-being of millions of women and girls. It's time to bring menstruation out of the shadows and into the conversation for sustainable, inclusive health policies. Let's make menstrual health a key part of our global push toward equity, dignity, and well-being for all. Thank you.
That was amazing. I love to hear all the work that is being done. And thank you so much to all of our oral statement presenters for really showcasing not only the work, but the projects you're working on and how you're working towards innovating the future and contributing to your global citizenship and the SDGs for Agenda 2030. And that is what the ECOSOC Forum is all about, right? The Youth Forum. It's about young people taking action, sharing their projects, working alongside like-minded individuals, and getting the job done. So congratulations to everybody. And now I'd like to quickly just move on and usher into the Q&A session. So please, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them now. Yeah, yes, go ahead. Would you like to?
I'm going to ask Marina, she's from Lebanon.
Yeah, right.
Yes. I am Sarah Al-Mashni, I'm American, Jerusalem, Israeli. So when you said there's no medicine in Lebanon, there's no food, there's no money, you guys are struggling. So what is the solution you guys are going to do? Because your situation is really bad. What is next? Yeah.
Okay, so our situation was terrible. Okay?
Very bad. You guys' situation is so bad. No medicine. That's a big problem.
It's a big problem.
Yes.
Indeed. I'm pretty good. I thank you for the question, actually.
Important, this question, yeah.
Okay. The problem and the struggle of shortage of medication started from 2020 reaching 2022. We were living in an extreme shortage of medications where over-the-counter meds and even chronic medications weren't available. Up until we reached 2023, where the central bank started issuing some financial support to pharma companies to be able for them to import medications, because our country is based on 95% of importing medications from outside, and you only manufacture 5% of medications. And even the raw material of the medications manufactured in Lebanon are imported. So eventually, if the imports stop, then the whole process will stop. So between these 2 years, even Tylenol, which is that for pain relief, wasn't available, which we call Panadol in our pharmacies. So imagine from the over-the-counter medications, which are basic medications for pain relief, to allergy, to diarrhea, to all these medications weren't available. Even vitamins were out of stock. So talking about these medications, reaching the chronic, severe chronic, cancer medications, kidney, all these medications were totally out of stock. Up until 2023, as I said, the situation started getting a bit better. Then Lebanon faced war, which is an imposed war between a militia group and Israel. So this reinforced the problem again. And now we are still facing a shortage that is not as before. Now we have approximately 70% of the medications available inside the pharmacies, but the cost is very high. So the cost of these medications, we can say one diabetes medications can cost $80, while the minimum wage salary of these individuals is barely $400, $500. So an individual who is a chronic patient, and whoever is in the medical field can know that a chronic patient do take between 5 to 10 medications. If we calculate these medications, they will cost about $400 to $500, which is a full salary of an individual. We didn't talk about food, shelter, electricity, water, and so on. So the situation is getting a bit better, and hopefully now with the government, with the new government and president, we are hopeful, and I'm really, and I mean it, we are hopeful because we can feel that there is something new, there's a new momentum, we're fighting corruption in a way, and they're trying to act and execute the plans that they're planning to. Hopefully we need some time to see some true, work plans being executed and some new improvements, up until we reach hopefully a day where we will stop suffering from the shortage of medications, which is crucial for the patients all over. So that's it for my answer, but I didn't say that the food was in short. So we didn't have shortage in food. We only had shortage in medications. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that question. Does anybody else have a question? Going once, going twice? Okay, so I will ask our panelists. I'll ask them a question. So there's been a lot of talk about a lot of the work that you guys have both been doing. So my question for you both would be, how would you define a change maker, and how can a young person become a change maker, and what are the key skills that would be a focus on to develop?
To define a change maker is an action-driven individual. Because you cannot be a change maker without executing again your plans into action and to make your vision into action. So whenever you start acting, you start to be a change maker. And it's just the road to step the first step. Whenever you start stepping it and you dare to really take the action, then you start being a change maker. And when you start seeing your actions doing an impact, then you are a true change maker. Because not all actions are driven by impact, you know?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's going to be overlapping, but I was going to say agency. I think definitely individuals who are not afraid of taking on more roles than just one, and maybe, you know, especially when there's a new initiative and there's a new project, you might have to be the treasurer, the secretary, the president all at once. Or you might have to be the communications manager all at once, and you're going to have to put in a lot of time and work. Definitely not being afraid of doing that, taking agency, and not delaying things, especially like reaching out to people, not being afraid to reach out to people is very important. Be as naggy as you need to be to really reach that impact. Thank you.
Awesome, that was some really great insight, I think, that we have been able to take
from both our panelists. I'm just gonna speak. Okay, can everybody hear me?
No, for the microphone.
Oh, no, okay, now,
Just keep the course straight.
okay.
Okay.
We are managing with this fantastic mic that picks and chooses who it likes. So for my next question, would definitely have to be, how can a youth advocate strategize tools to create a personal or community action plan focused on youth, peace, and security? Do any of you want to go first?
Sure.
Yeah.
Or if anybody in the audience would like to join, please go ahead. It doesn't have to be a question necessarily. Share your feelings.
Yeah. I think the number one thing I was going to say is not being afraid to ask institutions for support. As long, like we mentioned, you might not have support in the start, but gaining support also comes with demanding it. I think really going out and reaching out to people and being like, hey, I have an initiative like this, how can you support me? I think on campuses, I neglected that, especially initially. I didn't think that colleges had ways and means of support that we can utilize, but you can't utilize it unless you go and you ask and you demand and you present your initiatives. And so maybe this is limited to a campus example, but definitely on a broader scale, going to organizations, maybe government offices, and saying, this is important, here's the research, this is what I want to do, this is the problem I want to solve, and really demanding that support is really important.
Would anyone would like to add anything before? Okay, I will not answer the question, but I will add something to Leyla. Even if you go and approach these institutions or agencies or organization and you get a refusal, what should I do next? A refusal is not to stop. A refusal is to go even more. Okay? You will not get support from everyone. I didn't get support from anyone except individuals who believed in the mission. I always get refusals from government institutions, ministries, and organizations. Up until I reached a level after 3 years being established, I started getting, yes, this project is approved on. But since then, I didn't stop. Okay, so a no is a yes times thousands to continue working. Okay, that's it for me.
Awesome. So to kind of conclude our fantastic session today, does anybody want to open up the floor to give some comments or some feedback or reflect on today's event? yeah, please come up if you would like to come up and speak some remarks.
No, you go first, and then I go.
First of all, thank you everybody for, letting me speak. What I want to say is that I'm a founder of Build a Life Foundation. Now, whatever you guys have said here, it touches my heart, especially what Maria said about how her childhood went, and Marina being in Beirut. I come from Africa. I was born there, Tanzania, which, you guys have all said that, you've been there and whatever. I've been here for 18 years. No, I came when I was 18. But what I'm saying is that I've founded a foundation. It's called Build a Life Foundation. And what it does is that we have built wells and are still building wells in Africa. We're doing technology lines in India so that, the children can educate themselves. The whole idea is to educate the children. So our work is in India and in Tanzania, where we're just in the process of building the third hostel for girls especially. And why for girls? Because just like you said, the lady said, Lyzianah, that the girls get accosted because they travel far, and they got accosted by these bike riders who say that they're going to give them a ride, and then in exchange, they abuse them. And then the girls get pregnant, can't go to school. So we built 3 hostels for these girls that are closer to the school. So the girls that are living far are the ones who get first preference to stay there. So at least they can graduate, from school. And we built a school for 500 students, and then we also sponsor, so that if there's another school that is needing money, we give to Calcutta, Mumbai. We're right now going to be painting a school for orphanages. It's an orphanage school, and we're painting the whole thing so that when the children come to school, they feel inspired to learn. But funding is the most difficult part. We have our own. So far, we are a sign manufacturing company in architectural signage. So mostly, it's my husband and I and my boys, my sons, who say, yes, mommy, we have to give back. And so that's what we're doing. But funding is the most important thing. So if anybody has any ideas on the funding, we definitely have projects, but funding is a key issue. But again, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. One more?
Yes.
And then we're going to be wrapping up the session.
Okay, thank you. So, I am Sara Al-Mashni, Peace Development, non-profit organization. I have my own non-profit. So I've been with 15 years in the UN headquarters, and I saw the struggle for Lebanon. I saw the struggling. What Marina, she says the truth, but I'm gonna say it how it is. No food, struggle, no immigration papers to get to United States, no money, no medicine, nothing. It's true what she says, it's true. These people struggle very hard, and they go to the Israelis, and the Israelis do help them, and some Palestinians do help use, is the truth. But how can we help them more? Is it true? But when she said there's no medicine in Lebanon, is it true? If the medicine is $100 or $80, how are they going to buy this medicine? So we have to help them and advocate for them through UNICEF. They can provide you this medicine. I understand them, I feel them, but at the same point, there's other ways to improve, to succeed.
That's what we're doing.
Yes, but there's other ways also. You can go to UNICEF.
UNICEF is now working with
To give you money, to give you medicine, and to give you food. Also, you need the food. But the also thing is, you should connect with America to give you visa, student visa, immigration papers to come to United States. Because America is beautiful. It's a good country.
I'm here now, so I'm going to support you.
But it's not just to you. It's all Lebanon.
Definitely.
Yes.
They
but
have a ban on some groups.
Yes.
And that's
but
what we're still
it's true. I have to say it how it is.
Sure.
But some Lebanon is very, very successful. I'm gonna say it. Very rich and very good. Okay. Just say it how it is.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for your heartfelt comment into the discussion. Well, we do know that we are living in the age of conflicts of many different forms, and this is not only restricted to one region of the globe, but all forms of political, economic, and social conflicts are being erupted in different parts of the world, and that's why the Sustainable Development Goals are in a stagnation phase, and we need these kinds of global collaborations to boost it, since we only have 5 years remaining to the deadline of 2030. Well, thank you so much. You choosing to be here, spending your afternoon with us really means a lot for the Journalist Emeritus Foundations. It means that we're on the same page to prosper our global collaborations, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity created by the United Nations, because ECOSOC Youth Forum is growing like a snowball. It's about to catch the presence of CSW, or on the way to be as important as the General Assembly. Fantastic to see. Despite all the challenges, I was at the UN yesterday too. My fellow panelists have been at very prestigious platforms, delivering remarks and so forth. So we do know that there's a wonderful global presence at the UN, because this is the time where we need young professionals to be on board, sharing their policy reflections to be addressed to the member states. So thank you so much. And very lastly, we have received oral statements from other dozens of countries, and we'll be publishing those at our social media platforms. So my heartfelt thanks. All right, this is from Mesut Altiyev, representing Nurturing Hope Raindrop Foundation from United States.
We must address the digital divide in the developing parts of the world. This widespread but undervalued issue makes it difficult for most, if not all, low-income people. Without digital devices or the internet, people become greatly economically disadvantaged. This is most evident in areas such as employment, networking, and learning. As a result, the disadvantaged are trapped in a vicious cycle of merely surviving, which is fostered by not being able to access the privileges most of us unknowingly take for granted. If people in first world countries aided in providing access to the internet, technology devices, and the network infrastructure, we could get the disadvantaged out of this cycle and foster economic growth. The popularity of artificial intelligence, or AI systems, in recent times emphasizes the imbalance in the digital divide. People in first world nations utilize AI for selling content generated by AI, freelancing, or automating business processes. Even I, for instance, use ChatGPT to review for any grammatical errors in this statement. This shows just how much more at a disadvantage individuals are without having access to the virtual world, especially when one looks at economic or educational opportunity. Building the infrastructure of digital networks and providing devices for the disadvantaged is like drilling wells but for economic survival. As water is essential to life, digital access is essential to economic survival and growth in today's world. To bring lasting change, we must bridge this gap by delivering the tools and connectivity that can enable disadvantaged communities and create sustainable growth.
Okay, and the last one comes from Sheena Joy from Philippines.
1,000. This is the number of youth leaders who represented over 80 countries in the 2024 Economic and Social Council, or ECOSOC Youth Forum, a powerful reflection of the growing determination of the youth of the day to shape sustainable development. And yet, there remains little space for the youth within the broader scope of global challenges. This gap was even more evident when I participated as a panelist in the Asia-Europe Young Researchers Seminar in Budapest, Hungary, with the theme Collaboration and Competitiveness in Science and Technology Diplomacy. During the Q&A, we were asked about the role of the youth in this field. What's in it for them? This led me to reflect more deeply on youth-led grassroots initiatives and align their impacts with the Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs. Truly, the unfortunate reality is that these global challenges, including climate change, food insecurity, and public health, demand collective effort to drive meaningful change. However, we often fail to take into account the dynamic nature of these challenges we face throughout generations. This is where science, technology, and innovation plays a crucial part in this crisis. Today's youth are not just participants. They are critical thinkers and visionaries shaped by the rapidly evolving digital society. They learn to harness artificial intelligence, or AI, and solving real-world problems efficiently. These promising abilities can be further honed through knowledge exchange and research sharing in a collaborative ecosystem involving government, private sector, civil society, and non-government organizations. I believe in this potential, our potential. With a passion for climate action, I co-founded a climate adaptation startup through the Climate Hack program of Singapore International Foundation. As the only Filipino in our multicultural team, I shared insights about the local challenges regarding waste management and renewable energy, which resonated with my teammates from Malaysia, Indonesia, and Pakistan. Mentored by various professionals in varying disciplines, we then developed eConnect, an AI-driven platform designed to connect climate startups and project owners with the necessary funding and technical resources. We also especially focus in amplifying the voices of those directly impacted marginalized communities, such as the women, youth, and the indigenous groups, with their stories and innovations at the forefront, empowering young innovators. Gratefully, our solution also had the opportunity to be further refined after being selected for a fully funded learning journey to Singapore. All of these experiences attest the power of the youth if placed at the center of global partnerships. The youth of the day are the youth of tomorrow, the agents of change. Hence, we should provide avenues for youth representation in decision-making processes related to SDGs. We must invest in capacity building to scale youth-led solutions and foster partnerships that allow their ideas to thrive in a competitive world. It's imperative to create more inclusive spaces for growth and leadership as they continue driving innovation to address the hows, ultimately bridging the gap for a sustainable future. Indeed, the youth are not just willing to lead. They are ready.